Queen Margrethe II born Margrethe Alexandrine Ingrid on the 16th of April 1940 is a member of the Danish royal family who reigned as Queen of Denmark from the 14th of January 1972 until her abdication on the 14th of January 2024. Having reigned for exactly 52 years, she was the second longest reigning Danish monarch after Christian IV. She is also the world's most recent female reigning monarch. She was born at Frederick VIII's palace, in her parents' residence at Amalienborg, the principal residence of the Danish royal family in the district of Frederiksstaden in central Copenhagen. She was the first child of Crown Prince Frederik, later King Frederik IX, and Crown Princess Ingrid, later Queen Ingrid. Her father was the elder son of the then reigning King Christian X, while her mother was the only daughter of Crown Prince Gustav Adolf of Sweden, later King Gustav VI Adolf. Her birth took place just 1 week after the beginning of Nazi Germany's occupation of Denmark following the war invasion. Margrethe is known affectionately as Daisy to her family and close friends. The birth of Margrethe's younger sisters Benedict and Anne-Marie followed in 1944 and 1946 respectively. The princesses grew up in apartments at Frederick VIII's palace at Amalienborg in Copenhagen and in Fredensborg Palace in North Zealand. Margrethe spent summer holidays with the royal family in her parents' summer residence at Grassen Palace in southern Jutland. On the 20th of April 1947, following the death of Christian X, Margrethe's father ascended the throne as Frederik IX. Princess Margrethe was educated at the private school Anzals School in Copenhagen, from which she graduated in 1959. She spent a year at North Foreland Lodge, a boarding school for girls in Hampshire, England, and later studied prehistoric archaeology at Girton College, Cambridge, during 1960 to 1961, political science at Aarhus University between 1961 and 1962, attended the Sorbonne in 1963, and was at the London School of Economics in 1965. She is a Fellow of the Society of Antiquaries of London. Margrethe is fluent in Danish, French, English, Swedish and German, and has a limited knowledge of Faroese. At the time of her birth, only males could ascend the throne of Denmark, owing to the changes in succession laws enacted in the 1850s when the Glucksburg branch was chosen to succeed. As Margrethe had no brothers, it was assumed that her uncle Prince Knut would one day assume the throne. The process of changing the constitution started in 1947, not long after Margrethe's father ascended the throne, and it became clear that Queen Ingrid would have no more children. The popularity of Frederik and his daughters and the more prominent role of women in Danish life started the complicated process of altering the constitution. The law required that the proposal be passed by 2 successive parliaments and then by a referendum, which occurred on the 27th of March 1953. The new Act of Succession permitted female succession to the throne of Denmark, according to male preference cognatic primogeniture, where a female can ascend to the throne only if she does not have a brother. Princess Margrethe therefore became heir presumptive. In 2009, the law of succession was modified into absolute primogeniture. Margrethe attended the traditional New Year courts for the first time in 1956. On her 18th birthday, the 16th of April 1958, Margrethe was given a seat in the Council of State. She subsequently chaired the meetings of the council in the absence of the king. She paid her first visit to the Faroe Islands in 1959 alongside her parents and sisters, and to Greenland in 1960. While Margrethe studied in London, she met the French diplomat Henri de Laborde de Montpezat, who was legation secretary at the French embassy in London. Their engagement was announced on the 5th of October 1966. They were married on the 10th of June 1967 at the Holmen Church in Copenhagen, and the wedding reception was held at Fredensborg Palace. Laborde de Montpezat received the style and title of His Royal Highness Prince Henrik of Denmark because of his new position as the spouse of the heir presumptive to the Danish throne. They were married for over 50 years, until his death on the 13th of February 2018. Less than a year after the wedding, Margrethe gave birth to her first child, a son, on the 26th of May 1968. By tradition, Danish kings were alternately named either Frederik or Christian. She chose to maintain this by assuming the position of a Christian, and thus named her elder son Frederik. The following year, a second child, named Joachim, was born on the 7th of June 1969. On the 3rd of January 1970, 3 days after King Frederik IX delivered his New Year's address, he suffered a heart attack and was admitted to the Copenhagen Municipal Hospital. Margrethe was then designated acting regent the following day. The king died on the 14th of January, and Margrethe succeeded to the throne at the age of 31, becoming the first female Danish sovereign under the new Act of Succession. She was proclaimed queen from the balcony of Christiansborg Palace the following day by Prime Minister Jens Otto Krag. She chose to be known as Margrethe to the regnal number taken in recognition of the 14th-century Danish regent, Margrethe, who was publicly known as Queen Margrethe despite never being crowned. The queen chose the motto God's help, the love of the people, Denmark's strength. She relinquished all the monarch's former titles except the title to Denmark, hence her style by the grace of God. Queen of Denmark. The queen's main tasks were to represent the kingdom abroad and to be a unifying figure at home. She performs the latter by opening exhibitions, attending anniversaries and inaugurating bridges, among other things. She receives foreign ambassadors and awards honors and medals. As a constitutional sovereign, Margrethe took no part in party politics and does not express any political opinions. Although she had the right to vote, she opted not to do so to avoid even the appearance of partisanship. Once the government had been formed, it was formally appointed by the queen. Officially, it was the monarch who was the head of state, and she therefore presided over the Council of State Privy Council, where the acts of legislation which have been passed by the parliament are signed into law. In practice, nearly all of the queen's formal powers were exercised by the cabinet of Denmark. The queen held a meeting with the prime minister and the foreign affairs minister every Wednesday, unless either she or the prime minister was outside of the kingdom. In 1974 she and Henrik purchased Chateau de Caux in the wine district of Cahors in southern France. Margrethe announced in 2008 that her male-line descendants would bear the additional title of Count or Countess of Montpezat in recognition of her husband's ancestry. In 2022 the Queen announced that, from the start of 2023 the descendants of Prince Joachim will only be able to use their titles of Count and Countess of Montpezat, their previous titles of Prince and Princess of Denmark ceasing to exist, to allow the children, who were never expected to hold an official role within the royal family, to have normal lives. The Queen wanted to create a framework for the 4 grandchildren, to a much greater degree, to be able to shape their own existence, without being limited by the special considerations and obligations that a formal affiliation with the royal house as an institution implies. Her son, Joachim, daughter-in-law, Marie, former daughter-in-law, Alexandra, and eldest grandson, Nikolai, publicly expressed shock and confusion because of the decision. Margrethe marked her silver jubilee in 1997 with a religious service and a gala dinner attended by fellow Scandinavian royals. She celebrated her ruby jubilee, the 40th year on the throne, on the 14th of January 2012. This was marked by a church service, concert, carriage procession, gala banquet at Christiansborg Palace and numerous TV interviews. The Queen's Golden Jubilee was marked on the 14th of January 2022 with celebrations to take place later in the year. In September, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom, it was announced by the royal house that it was Her Majesty the Queen's wish that a number of adjustments be made to the upcoming celebrations. Between Elizabeth II's death and her abdication, Margrethe was Europe's longest reigning monarch, the world's only queen regnant, and the longest-serving incumbent female head of state. In her annual live broadcast New Year's Eve address on the 31st of December 2023, Margrethe announced her abdication, which took place on the 14th of January 2024, the 52nd anniversary of her accession to the throne. She said that time had taken its toll, that her number of ailments had increased, and that she cannot undertake as many duties as in the past. She cited her extensive back surgery in February 2023 and said that the operation made her reassess her position and consider whether now would be an appropriate time to pass on the responsibility to the next generation. Margrethe's elder son, Frederick, assumed the throne as Frederick X, mirroring her first New Year address in 1973. She said of the succession, "The support and assistance which I have received throughout the years have been crucial to the success of my task. It is my hope that the new king and queen will be met with the same trust and devotion which have fallen to my lot since her abdication." Margrethe has been referred to as Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II or Her Majesty Queen Margrethe. Margrethe is eligible to serve as regent in the event of the incapacity or absence of the king and crown prince Christian. As regent, Margrethe can perform the duties of the head of state on certain occasions, for example during Frederick and Christian's stays abroad. Queen Margrethe II has had a number of health issues. Since the 1990s, she has undergone several operations on her right knee due to injuries and osteoarthritis. In 1994 she was treated for cervical cancer. In 2003 she underwent a 4.5-hour-long operation for spinal stenosis. On the 9th of February 2022 the Danish court disclosed in a press release that the Queen had contracted COVID-19. On the 13th of February, the Queen was able to leave home isolation after having had a mild case of the virus. On the 21st of September 2022 the Danish royal house disclosed in a press release that Margrethe had tested positive for COVID-19 a second time after attending the state funeral of Elizabeth II, her third cousin, in London. She left home isolation again on the 26th of September and resumed her official duties immediately, stating that she felt fine. On the 22nd of February 2023 the Queen underwent major back surgery at Rigshospitalet due to continued back pain. In a statement the following day, a representative for the Queen said that the surgery had gone well and that she had already been up for a walk. She was discharged from the hospital on the 2nd of March and returned from sick leave on her birthday on the 16th of April. Margrethe has been a chain smoker and is well known for her tobacco habit. On the 23rd of November 2006 the Danish newspaper BT printed an announcement from the royal court that the Queen would henceforth smoke only in private. She has not smoked since her spinal surgery in February 2023. Margrethe wears designs by former Pierre Balmain designer Erik Mortensen, Jürgen Bender, and Birgit Tholo. In March 2013 The Guardian listed her as one of the 50 best-dressed over 50s. In connection with her 80th birthday, British Vogue published an article calling her an unsung style heroine, up to the end of her reign. Margrethe held 72 Danish and 8 foreign patronages as queen, including Aarhus Festuge, Aarhus Aarhus Kunstmuseum, Danish Association, Danes Worldwide, the Danish Animal Welfare Society, the Danish Cancer Society, National Olympic Committee and Sports Confederation of Denmark. Until her abdication Margrethe served as Colonel-in-Chief of the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment, an infantry regiment of the British Army, following a tradition dating back to 1906 when Edward VII, married to Alexandra of Denmark, appointed his brother-in-law, Frederick VIII of Denmark, Colonel-in-Chief of the then Buffs Royal East Kent Regiment. As sovereign, Margrethe received 42 official state visits and she undertook 55 foreign state visits herself. She and the royal family have made several other foreign visits. Margrethe is known for her strong archaeological passion and has participated in several excavations, including in Italy, Egypt, Denmark, and South America. She shared this interest with her grandfather, Gustav VI Adolf of Sweden, with whom she spent some time unearthing artifacts near Etruria in 1962. Since the 1970s, Margrethe has designed and embroidered several vestments and church textiles for churches in Denmark, Greenland, Germany and England. She has designed a chasuble for Fredensborg Palace Church which was since embroidered by her mother, Queen Ingrid, and appliqued by her sister, Princess Benedict. The textile was presented to the church on its 250th anniversary in 1976. In 1989 Margrethe designed the bishop's robe for the Diocese of Viborg. In 2017 she designed the antependium for the All Saints Church in Wittenberg, Germany. In 2020 she designed the chasuble for the Danish Church of St. Catherine in Camden, London. As a child, Margrethe preferred drawing rather than needlework, but since 1960, numerous embroideries have been presented as gifts or used in the Queen's own rooms. The embroideries are made from patterns that Margrethe herself creates on graph paper, which includes twining shapes and the recipient's monogram. The Queen has designed several embroideries for the Danish Handcraft Guild, including patterns for calendars, cushion covers, and dinner mats. Margrethe has also designed evening bags and spectacle cases for friends and family members, including Christmas calendars for all of the grandchildren, cushion covers and furniture covers for the palaces, and fireplace screens for Fredensborg Palace. The Queen's private embroideries were exhibited at Koldinghus Castle in 2021, In 2000 for Margrethe designed the official monogram of her second cousin twice removed, Princess Ingrid Alexandra of Norway. She has also designed her own personal monogram. The personal monograms of her son Frederick X, daughter-in-law Mary and grandson Christian, as well as the joint monograms of the Danish crown prince couple, as well as the Norwegian crown prince couple, her godson Håkon, Crown Prince of Norway, and his wife Mette-Marit. Margrethe is an accomplished painter and has exhibited many of her works over the years. In 2000 she illustrated Prince Henrik's poetry collection Cantabile, under the title From Mountains to Coast. She and her close friend, Queen Sonja of Norway, exhibited selected works inspired by nature at the Barony Rosendahl in 2015. Along with her late husband, Margrethe has kept dachshunds since the 1970s. She currently has one dog, the dachshund Tilia, who was Prince Henrik's dog until his death in 2018. Over the years, Margrethe has become involved in ballet as a scenographer and costume designer. She designed the costumes for the Royal Danish Ballet's production of A Folktale and for the 2009 Peter Flint film, De Wildsvaner the Wild Swans. She also designs her own clothes and is known for her colorful and sometimes eccentric clothing choices. The Queen designed 51 costumes for the 2023 film Erengard, The Art of Seduction, as well as 81 decoupages that were the basis for the sets. As Queen, her official residences were Amalienborg, where she resides at Christian IX's Palace in Copenhagen, and Fredensborg Palace near Hillerød. Her summer residences were Marselisborg Palace near Aarhus and Grassen Palace near Sonderborg, the former home of her mother, Queen Ingrid, who died in 2000. In July 2023, the Danish royal house recognized Margrethe II as Denmark's longest reigning sitting monarch. Though Christian IV reigned for over 59 years between 1588 and 1648, he was not officially installed until 1596, ruling with a guardian government up until then.